2 rounds the minute, sir.
Man, sometimes my throat just be like that. But hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to um, uh, welcome to the stream. As a guy here, I'm going to be streaming the first day of the knockout stages for the CBL Asia Division for the season of Paragon. Although we are in the next season, that's going to be happening a lot today. I am sick still, but continuing on, we've got two matches starting off. We've got the top 16 coming to us. Two matches, that means four teams. We have CTE, otherwise the Crazy Tiger Entertainment, versus EFF. EFF is a really long name. I keep forgetting what it is. Followed that, we have TKT, otherwise the Knights Templars, versus CBEL, which is just CBEL. We got those two matches tonight. Don't forget, there is also the losers bracket. We'll get to know who faces them. Looks like A, A5, A6, A7, A8. Strange. Anyway. So the losers out of the two. So there is a second chance for all of these teams getting knocked out once. In the losers bracket, you'll get knocked out. So it is quite it's quite sad, I would say, that what the hell? Okay, no, there we go. The number of battles locking up. Bracket 3 loss. Oh, right. Chance of a rematch. That's right. Man, the losers bracket always does my head in. But anyway, so we're just waiting on the clean feed to start working. Otherwise, I might use the stream from Conqueror's Blade, which has just gone down for some reason. Just went offline apparently. Whoopsie daisy. Turn that off now. Back to the stream. Try to get this up as soon as we can. Does look like they're restarting the stream. Been a while for clean feed, so clean feed's not working. So they had to restart the stream. I'm guessing is that when they started up the stream, they didn't set up the clean feed for us. Just gonna have to wait. They're back up online on this one. Ugh. I hope that doesn't bother you guys. Oh man. Oh well. I hope my voice can keep it up. Got a lot of things. Got a lot to go through. Not to mention we have 3 battles back to back. So the next time, so on Wednesday, Thursday, and the Friday we have battles. And then the following Sunday, sorry, into the Wednesday, into the Thursday, Friday. So it skips. No, yeah, it skips the Wednesday. Skips the Wednesday on the 27th. Come on. Input file. It's not working. Work, damn you. Work. Oh well. I guess I'll just play this. I'll just get do Windows captures. I know this is technically stealing, but I mean, like, the clean feed's not working right now, so can't do anything about that. I kind of like how enthusiastic the commentators are, even though nothing really exciting is happening on the screen.
Oh yes, a Baptist crossbowman with mortar is being struck. Baby, I'm loving it. Cavalry is coming for the aid. Advance. And there is not enough of Crusaders to stop this advance of Christmas sale. Cavalry has broken through. Hussars are on.
Let's put on a show.
Hi guys,
Hi
great
guys.
to see you.
Yeah, great to see you. Welcome back. And
Hey, it's Brad.
This is Brad.
And this is AB.
Yeah. So why we are here today?
Yeah, because today is the very first time that for this upgraded CBL to
Yeah.
begin.
Yeah, because like this time CBO is very different. Because like we have the scoring stage,
Yeah.
and then we will go to the knockout stage.
Yeah, like
and
today.
Yeah,
This is
today.
the
And
first
yeah.
day of Asia Division's knockout stage.
Yeah, and this time I think the biggest difference compared to the past CBLs is
Yep.
kind of like we make the number 1 team in a certain group to fight against the number 4 team in another group, and in this way we can
so
make
it's
sure.
not like a random.
Yeah, it's not random
pick.
again. Yeah, so it can make sure that all good teams that they can still remain on the stage, but you know it's just based on their performance.
Yeah.
If they are good enough, they will still remain on the stage. So tonight is gonna be the first game. Is gonna be the number 1 team in the Group A.
Yeah,
that is
CTE
CTE to fight against
from Taiwan.
yeah, from Taiwan, and the number 4 team in Group D,
Yep.
EFF. And so the first game we're gonna happen
Wow,
between CTE and
CTE
EFF.
is from
Yeah.
Taiwan.
And the second match is the team, the group.
I really need to
like
talk to
the,
some of
the
these
top
teams
team,
sometimes.
the number 1 team TKT to
Yeah.
fight
Learn
against
about them.
the number 4 team in Group C,
Yeah.
CBEL. Yeah. And I believe those teams are quite. We've already quite familiar with
Yeah.
those teams. I think EFF is kind of a new face on the stage.
Yeah, but you know their players are from big houses in or in Conqueror's Blade from the house Shenfa. We got so many famous star players in ranked match.
Yeah.
They're from this team, so
Yeah.
they cannot be underrated.
Yeah, so I think their experience, they have experienced a lot of games in
Yeah.
Conqueror's Blade. So maybe the team is kind of new, but like the team members in the team must be a group of
Yeah.
veterans.
Also, the team CTE, they are also kind of a new team in CBL, but their players, are from like
Trying to
our
get this clean
previous
feed thing
famous
to work, but it's not
DCNC, and
working.
also some players from Xeon. So they are quite, old players in Conqueror's Blade, and they have like CTE.
Wow,
they
the
have
lag
won
on that is
all
insane.
4 matches in the scoring stage, and also even the EFF, they are the top 4 in the Group D, but they also their win rate is like 75. They have only like lost 1 game,
Yeah, which one
Yeah.
are
so
you sick
they are
with?
pretty quite good
Yeah,
in this time's CBL.
yeah. And I believe all teams, if they can like got promoted from the scoring stage to
Yeah.
the knockout stage, they must be
I'm not getting
very,
it.
very good
Prove
team.
the-
Yeah,
prove
they'll overprove themselves.
Yep.
So and this time the CBL is quite special because like in the past we'll just like we'll have the CBL based on the
Right
on
now
the
we're trying to get
on
the clean
season
feed to
theme
work.
and
Yeah.
go with
This
the
is
season.
actually from their actual
if we have
Twitch.
this season and then we'll have
So,
CBL, but this time it's
Technically,
different.
this is
The CBL
not
we're
very
gonna like
ethical,
we'll have
but
already split
clean
up
feed would
into
be
2
much similar.
CBLs.
It just we wouldn't have the
in a year,
commentary, so I
one
will be
summer
turning
and
them
one
off
is winter.
when the battle
So
does
we
start.
just kind of prolong the one CBL's the length.
Yeah, so
So-
players
but right
have more
now,
time
the
to
clean
practice
feed
and
is
prepare for the twice a year
killing.
CBL.
Yeah, we
Because
just
we got like award,
Award,
like
yeah.
real award, like money this time. So all teams, they must pay really attention
yeah.
to this game.
Yeah, because like the period we kind of it's got prolonged, so we just all teams they have to arrange their time accordingly to have like to prepare well and to join the CBL because it's
Yeah.
not just like about 1 month or 2 weeks or kind of stuff. It's kind of about half a year, so you have to arrange your time in a really
Yeah.
good way.
It's a serious thing now.
Yeah. So and this time, because like it's not just based on the season. So we have before this time's knockout stage, we've already experienced the last
The
season.
score stage, like,
Yeah. So we have a kind of new maps like the Queen Ruins and like
Oh, well.
and the French and
As
the,
long as the clean feeds are acting up.
yeah.
I will be
I just
using
cannot
the
pronounce
Twitch
the
for
name.
now.
Yeah, like the La Grande
But
But
Droit,
it does,
yeah.
that would be
you
some
have
good
pronounce
in
information.
English, yeah. So and this map it's allowed different teams to have different decisions on this map. It's more required for like tactics and those kind of
so
stuff.
hopefully we are not seeing like all straightforward Warford again,
Yeah.
because we can see more diverse gameplay and the strategy in totally different diverse various maps. So we are totally really looking forward in the 2022 CBL, the summer tourney.
Yeah. And the most popular map in the previous CBLs, most of them are
Back to Warford, though.
Warford and
So I'm just taking a look at
and
the,
Harbour City.
Yeah.
I believe
setup.
like the first time I streamed the CBL, back to that time, the most popular map
So we
was
have-
Harbor City, because like Harbor City is a map is points, and because like
We're running behind.
even though it only
so
got
we're now
like
11
2
minutes
points
behind.
in this map,
They're
but
broadcasting
you have
about 3
to
minutes
like
behind.
prepare well for the supply points and need to arrange your gameplay in a really good way.
Even though it's a small map, but you got everything
I know
in
this
this
is
map,
bread.
like
I keep
supply
forgetting who
point
this
and
one
siege
is.
tower and everything. So it also it's just like a quick game in that map.
Yeah, and also the war fort is kind of the same, because like war fort has got a supply point outside of the city, and you have kind of
Everyone
different
plays Warlord.
decisions
Literally
on
everyone plays
on the
Warlord.
supply point. You
Yeah.
can just like leave it or just like send some people to defend it.
Yeah.
So
like
yeah, it's,
different choices.
yeah, it's all about your gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe tonight we are gonna have we are gonna have some. Actually, I'm looking forward to seeing some new maps in CBL, because like we got new teams, new faces, new rules, new rule set for the
So also new experience for our audience and also us.
Strange.
Yeah.
I don't remember listening
And
to any new
also,
rules.
I believe like for now
I read
this,
the rules, and I mean,
because
like,
like in
there's
this
nothing in
season
particular
we
that stands
adjust
out.
several units and in the game. So I think tonight the units is kind of will be totally different compared to the previous
because
CBL.
we're also like adjusting and balancing some units to make the map and also the gameplay totally different from the last CBL.
Hey,
so
I
we are
give you
looking
credit
forward
for
to
trying
see,
at least.
different
I'm gonna be honest here, like these
customers
guys,
of those
they're not
units.
really great
Yeah.
at balancing.
And
They're really
guys, we
good
have,
at just
I think we
making
have
up
opened the
making up
Twitch drops
bullshit,
for the CBL
and then
things.
all this
So
the
guys,
units just
if
go
you
out of
like
control.
watching our CBL games, and you can claim
Like
rewards from
changes
the
to cataphract
Yes.
makes them
from
so
live stream. And
oppressively
also you
strong
can join
that
our
like
Discord
they can brute
to
force
join
basically
our
anything
Discord
right now.
CBL channel to discuss to
I
talk
mean,
and share
like
your
when
feelings
medalls were
about
released,
CBL in
cavalry
that channel.
basically dead in
And
the
that will be
water, so they
interesting
had to
because
buff
like a
cavalry
group of
so
people,
much
like, share the
when
same
the only
interests
thing that can
already
actually
in
deal
the
with it
channel.
is
about the
still
team's performance
medalls, and it's
also
like
maybe your advice in that situation.
actually they
or
didn't
maybe
actually
that
buff it
map.
that much. The
Just
cataphract
together
changes
makes
was
the gameplay more exciting.
marginal for
And also
others,
you can
but
like go to
cataphract
our
itself,
content
like
creators
it took a while for people to get
channels,
used to them. But
to watch the CBL and to support for your
man,
favorite team.
that
to support
followed
for
charge chain
your
was
favorite
huge
streamers.
though.
And, yeah,
Not to
that would
mention,
be, much fun.
one of the things
I
that
believe
makes
now the
the
two
charge
teams
almost
are
oppressive
still
is that they don't
preparing for the
actually
game,
seem to exit
So I think
the
we can
charge
do
state.
some
They seem to
prediction
enter a
before the game.
pseudo like
Yeah, I think CTE they are the #1 team. Yeah, in
it
the
happened
Group A.
before,
And the
and it's
EFF
happening
they are the
again.
#4 team.
Basically,
So you
what's
think,
happening to the cataphracts is that
obviously,
when you
like
CC them
just
once,
from
they'll enter a
the
second state,
matchup, you can
and
we will
for
tell
some
that
reason
CTE
the
gonna
second
beat
state is just as
EFF.
strong as their normal charge. And while the
I don't know, it's
entire
kind
unit's
of
still
hard to
charging,
tell because,
they still have the
both
damage
two
resistance.
Players, they're pretty good, but
So
maybe
you
like
can
we
try to
can tell
stop
from
the
win rate,
charge of a
maybe it's the
cataphract,
city because
but it
they
won't
also
work
got
unless
so
you
many,
chain CC them, and it's very
experienced
hard to.
professional players that have already participated in CBL, but also EFF. We have seen their performance in last time CBL. They also did quite a good job. So
Yeah,
what do you think about
All right.
the possible
They've given up on the
matches?
clean feed,
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna see some
Yeah.
because like the gameplay, the match is sometimes if you watch a lot of like basketball or football matches, and you can always say like because like in the basketball or football matches, you can always say in the different splits, you can see the #1 team will gonna fight against the team at the bottom, and sometimes people will say like. Okay, the #1 team is gonna beat it's gonna beat the team into the bottom, but sometimes
Miracles can happen.
and you just cannot see that.
all right.
100%
Clean
sure
feed's
about
kind of
that,
dead on the
because,
water. We'll be
it's
listening
all
to
about
most of
your actual
the
performance
Twitch
in
stuff.
the
So
game.
hope you guys
'cause
enjoyed
like
my
the
commentary. We'll be
actual
turning
play
them
is
off
kind
once
of,
the battle does
you just
start,
can't-
but listening
you
to
just
them
can't predict
during
it's
the
kind of unpredictable.
downtime,
Yep.
also
like,
very
you just don't know
also
what is gonna
piece of
happen in the
entertainment.
game. You just need to.
I'll say what I
like,
want.
all
Oh well,
comes on your
I'd say what
actual
anything if
performance in the
anything
game.
interesting comes
Yeah.
up.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing CTE still have like CTE still has a really good performance in the game, but also I want to say EFF. Like,
At least the
as a
sound's
team
better than last
from
time. It's
the
only a
lower
little bit
stage,
low.
like from the #4 team, and they can still have a very good performance to beat CT down.
Yeah, and I think
So yeah, let's jump into the
Whoa.
game. So the first
seems
game,
like the map has been picked,
yeah,
and it's Wolford again.
yeah, Wolford
The
again.
attacker will be CTE first.
So all you're going to see
CBE,
is
the first
Wolford for
And
match.
see
now.
the spawn
I'm going to
place
turn
at
off this
CBA
for a
CTE
second.
choose. Seems like they will go
And turn
straight
off the
for the
sound
supply
here.
point, outside supply point.
There we go. Alrighty. Hmm. Interesting pick with the Houndsman. I mean, we got the Napalm guards there. Interesting that a lot of berserkers are coming out. Mostly double tier 5s for EFF. Pretty common. We got 2 Busting Wild Flames, in fact. 4 pikes for either side, so pike is definitely a popular class. If I'm not wrong, that looks like 14 players for EFF. That doesn't look good. I think one of the players didn't connect. It was just me? Odd. Hmm. So, as you can tell, for attacking, you kind of want to make sure that you maintain a superiority in troops. It's very difficult to perform an attack with equal numbers. One bad trade could lead to your downfall almost instantly. Going straight up the ladders here. They're also sending up troops up as well. So I don't think it's going to be very strong. It's mostly going to be farmers up on the top. No trebs coming through. All the siege towers getting pushed. Overwhelming them, in fact, on that B side. EFF not focusing on destroying that bridge, or at least has not committed enough. They're going to lose the B side. The berserkers, lots of berserkers. It's been a while since I've seen a berserker rush like this. They've also got some claymores mixed in. I think a couple of players actually got caught there. 2 mortars in the back. A bit late, I think. They'll get most of the troops across the bridge before it breaks down. With no one to contest on the B's side, I don't think it would be wise to continue to commit resources up onto the wall. Does look like they did a climb on the right-hand side as well, next to A, if you're looking at the mini-map there. If you could have helped it, destroying that bridge would still be helpful. It'll stop them from getting troops up around. Interesting part here is EFF not looking to pressure CTE here. Honestly, it's quite wise to sit back and wait for the attackers, but they have a lot of time as well, so they'll move into the mortaring phase. Well, artillery phase. This is where they start setting up a lot of artilleries on the wall to pressure positions. Classically, we've seen a lot of mortars shoot towards the supply point. Supply point is very brutal here on Wolfort. You either go for straight for C or go for the supply point. If the supply point is lost by the defenders, they're almost an absolute disadvantage for holding contesting C. The only reason why C is most commonly defended on Wolfort is because it's actually mostly a treb bait. So what happens is that if they go for C, they will always be out of position. I mean, the attackers will be. The deeper they go in to C, the more out of position they will be. EFF will, the defenders in this case, EFF, could draw them into C and attack them for basically maybe 4 sides. I've seen a quadruple directional charge. Like I seen 4 charges come in from the left to the right, back and the front, hit that C point, and it blasted them completely off. I mean, by the time the 3rd charge came in, they were all dead. Back then, there was no Medaus, though. I'd also have to say that it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be more difficult now to pressure pressure the defenders off of important points like this. Where's that sound coming from? I'm sorry, I don't even know where that sound coming from. Cool sound, though. Oh! Clean feed's up. Awesome. I can close this out. Clean feed's working now. Well, not much difference. Alright, CTE is making their way down now. Not very much mortaring did happen. I'm not sure how much artillery they did use. In terms of losses, I do think they did lose quite a few. I think they used mostly ballistas in order to pressure the supply point here, and it's a smart move to actually start setting up a lot of ballistas here. What's probably crazy is that EFF has no presence around the C point, not even slightly. It's also difficult for the defenders to have presence at the C point and not instantly be a sacrifice. This is where sometimes you want to have range fire shooting down, or a surf unit. In fact, a surf unit is on the C point is classically really good. They're moving in the Medaus a bit. They're moving in the Medaus, and they do scare off CTE. CTE now makes a massive swing towards the supply point, and I'll be honest, this could be really bad for CTE if, might be a 3rd round swing. So this is really good, actually. If they go in and catch the units that are on the C point now, but they're moving back into position, so EFF has really good discipline here. Putting a little bit of pressure on that C point. Really want to just stand on it, get as much cap points as possible. Lots of berserkers out on the field. Only a couple of Medaus. Medaus will be held in reserve, so I would definitely think about using things that would very good against berserkers. So berserker pile mostly in the center there, moving across towards the supply point. Getting cut off. One CTE does die. Does look like a 15v15. So the guy did eventually come in. Nafan Guards here. A Bastian Wild Flame could absolutely decimate that Nafan Guard if they get a good ball throw. But the tidal wave of cavalry actually bowls right through that front line. That front line is completely gone. EFF is a bit late here. Iron Reaper's also coming up a bit late. EFF just watched a complete collapse. Again, like, it's quite impressive how easily it is for the entire front line to collapse like that. And it was only a few seconds as well. Nafan Guard locks up the shield units, and I don't think there was actually very many support units there on the supply point anyway, but CTE definitely just slaughtering their way straight through the defenders right now. Stretched themselves a bit thin. I think CTE was most likely wanting, not CTE, EFF most likely wanted CTE to go to the C point, but honestly, I wouldn't spread myself across the whatchamaface calls it, the left-hand side and the supply point, because having infantry actually on those left-hand side stairs there is actually not a very good idea. What you want to do is have infantry up and behind the wooden palisade, well, secondary wall here, next to the A point. It's not a very good idea to have your infantry, especially so far away. It's best to have cavalry. If not, I'd have infantry and cavalry situated in this situated just behind the C point. If they do go for the supply point, you can move the cavalry up across and charge directly at them, and could have cancelled out the cataphracts that came through. Infantry could have stayed at C, would have been a better idea for a hold instead of moving. Also, just didn't commit the right numbers. I think there was only about 5 people on the supply point. Most of the guys coming in actually was collateral. Cataphracts really did a number of them as they were coming out. It's a massive loss, in fact. I don't think it's going to be very good, to say the least, for EFF in this scenario, unless they do a complete wipe. Massively down for one of their fights, and especially since CTE has gotten more tier 4s, so a wipe like that could come down to a massive attrition from the defenders. So the defenders really need to win big on the next exchange and the exchange after that. Because even after 2 more exchanges, CTE will still have a little bit of tier 4 reserves. I don't think they lost very many either. At most, just a couple. Probably 2, maybe 3 units. Been a while since I've seen a wall fort. It's quite interesting to see these teams kind of circle each other here. A lot of presence from CTE with heroes mostly. A bit too afraid of the trebs here. I would definitely be very careful when going up against those berserkers as they completely decimate a Medal right there. That is brutal, man. I think 8 berserkers just decimated about 20 Medals, and I think six berserkers still alive at the end there. Imperial Pike March into nothing there. A big waste of big ability. This charge is a little bit of a waste. Engagements have not cleared up. Cavalry is running all the way around. This is big pickup for CTE. Cavalry out of position as well. Should have held the cavalry in reserve. Your infantry piles are losing massively. Massive over-reliance right now for cavalry, and it's a cav stack. We got 2 cataphracts going absolutely wild for both sides. But that strong line of defense from the Medals will hold back the cavalry from the defenders. CTE definitely just decimating the defenders right here. It's really bad matchup, to say the very least. EFF really coming in short when it comes down to the engagements. I don't think I've seen EFF realistically win any advantage when fighting, except for here on the supply point now, probably winning out those cataphracts. But the cataphracts doing an amazing job locking up those Medals on that supply point, locking up that supply point actually. And with no reinforcements, of course EFF would go down. Again, I don't think EFF is a bad player, but CTE definitely coming out really big here. Say the very least. I think CTE really won big on the matchups, and EFF a little bit too afraid of nearly every engagement. I think EFF needs to be a little bit more confident when taking fights. But with that being said, a little bit when they were going for it, they were very, very, very aggressive, but a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes coming out of EFF. EFF is not doing too hot. CTE, very good in discipline. EFF can do a little bit of discipline. I do think they have a strategy in mind, but after the falling of the after the falling of the supply point, it's just been a complete stomp for CTE and just landsliding it right across. Very little resistance, as you can see. Not very high, probably an average of about 200 unit kill score. Very upsetting for EFF to lose in such a dramatic way. Crusaders dead? Yeah, Crusaders is dead. Do you think they were replaced, more or less? Cannot remember who they replaced. Someone did say that one of the teams is the spiritual successor of Crusaders, but old Crusaders is in the Chinese server, so that's Crusaders from season 2 to like season 7. The most recent performance from Crusaders, mostly during the after the Dynasty season. After the Dynasty season, I think that's the new Crusaders. Otherwise, Crusaders second team. So after the New Year's, I don't think I've seen. It's been a really long time for the CBL, and the old Crusaders have definitely moved on. Either to a different server. The new Crusaders also gone now. So Crusaders, yes, is dead. Deadly dead. I thought I was informed at some point that EFF was apparently, connected to Crusaders in some way, but that's probably still to be seen. I have not recognized any player names from New Crusaders. I couldn't recognize any player names from Old Crusaders. Then again, I mean, I could only recognize English names, so I'd only be able to recognize like 2 people. And I couldn't even tell you them. Guy starting with an L. He usually plays Longbow back in the day. Probably not going to play Longbow anymore. The changes to Longbow really hampered some of the strength it did have. The lowering of the damage, although it is necessary, is completely unsatisfying to play. So I'm going to have to put it down that the changes to the Longbow, although necessary, unsatisfying. It is just not satisfying to play the Longbow, and it is pretty devastating as a class to be like that. I do like the overcharge. Although losing what it was to what it is now, you lose a little bit. So, I do think CTE is showing out to be very strong for this entire tournament. They're extraordinarily aggressive and one of the most toxic teams in the game, I would say. That followed by some other teams as well. Actually, no, those are in different divisions. I'll be back in a second. I'm gonna grab some more water. I'm not particularly sure on the status of Crusaders, but I do know that Crusaders on the Asia server doesn't really exist. On the Chinese server, maybe. Old Crusaders did apparently move to the Chinese server, and we did get to see a old versus new back in the last cross-server tournament we had. So maybe we'll get to see them in the cross-server tournaments later in August. So that's still to be seen. Right now we have the second battle between EFF versus CTE. I do think it's going to be a bit of a hard ask after losing so brutally on the defense. EFF really got to pick up a big win here. Cannot afford to lose now. Have to win, otherwise they'll be sent down. Well, otherwise they'll go into the losers bracket to have a second chance. Well, what did you miss? EFF gets completely decimated by CTE on the attack. CTE just ruffle stomped EFF into oblivion. Now EFF, so it's 0-1. EFF needs to win this if they want to send this into a tiebreaker. So it's going to be interesting. Interesting to see that CTE actually bringing out the regular halberdiers with the Fenris. I am quite interested to see what kind of value these units will bring. The changes to the Fenris has been a little bit back and forthy. I do think people do not realize that the Fenris can no longer stack. This is the second match of the day. This is the this is round 2 of the first match. So if I was okay, so is this the second match of the day? Man, it's hard to explain if I don't know what matches and rounds are like. So basically, yes, this is technically yes, this is the second match of the day. This is the second match. This is the second match between EFF versus CTE, and CTE has already won their attack on Wolford as well. Well, you only get to see Wolford anyway. So yes, it's so there is another set. There is another set after the battle between CTE versus EFF. Those guys we'll see a little bit later. It is TKT versus CBEL, but right now we're on the second battle between EFF versus CTE. Interestingly enough, halberdiers out the wazoo right across this bridge here, not taking it down though. Very interesting. EFF not going across that bridge. Interesting display in difference of confidence here. EFF not fully committing onto the B side. Middle siege tower does go down, so CTE might. Whoa! Actually, also brings down the right-hand siege tower as well. That left-hand siege tower is getting dangerously close, and it is fully stacked here. But nonetheless, the positioning of those culverins are fairly safe. These culverins up here historically have been very difficult to take out. You would need to set up mortars across the side here. I think this might also be a bait, depending on how low that... Yep, because what's happened here is that what they'll do is they'll bring the wall down to a certain level. They'll bring the wall, like that wall, because when you move troops across a wall that's breakable, they all instantly die within a radius. They'll either pincer the tower or just instant kill everything that's on the section of the wall. So if they hold them on the A point or the gazebo, I call it the gazebo thing, that entire wall will create an instant death zone when it goes down. And that could be massive. The timing on that could be absolutely huge. So it's good that EFF is not a fool, but trying to take down the towers as late as possible. We do have the middle siege tower, basically one hit here, but this far siege tower not so much. It might be a little bit tight. Oh my goodness. Hey, I thought you fell. What is this, a lie? I'm surprised. Whoa. Yeah. So this will be a bait, either by a pincer or taking out the wall. I do think they will go for a wall takedown because a wall takedown is much safer and incredibly more effective. They have a siege tower up on the wall. I would give them 2 minutes before they have to engage. Otherwise, they will not have enough time to even take the A point. So it's a big sacrifice, a big ask. CTE is playing this very, very safe here. CTE can take this engagement. I mean, there is 2 questions. Do you take down that wall, ensure that you can go for the A point, or do you go for the B point and risk your troops dying on that wall? Because that is what is the massive risk here, is that once this wall goes down, it is absolutely paramount that you have nothing there. So they do instead go for the wall break. A smart move, not risking any troops here in this case. Unfortunately, no. Besides spear class that does the charge, so CTE actually gives up the wall here. A little bit of a catch, losing only Fenris and a hero here. They're trying to get as much value as possible, but the amount of time that CTE gained from this is actually very good. Not to mention, the B point is still open. The B point is defendable. Not that CTE is even going to try. So this is where I say that EFF made a mistake in their defense, because they had a lot of guys on the left-hand side. The left-hand side next to the B point. They didn't even defend the B point. Not that they could. Very far away from the supply point. So EFF is putting themselves in a strategic disadvantage. Strategically. Classically, I've not seen very many pushes work here on the left-hand side. You really either go up straight through the center to C, fight them coming in from all directions, or you go for the supply point. Interesting plays have gone through the center. Well, I mean, if you go through the center to C, or you go through the side road between C and the supply point, that could funnel them into 2 directions. So you only have 2 fronts instead of the usual triple front. Having cavalry on the backside here could allow you to get repositioned very quickly, but EFF has about 9 minutes. They don't want to sacrifice too much. I'd put it down to the fact that CTE is very frightening. You move out of position, could be absolutely devastating. Interesting to see that this Culverin is going to be destroyed by Treb. Or maybe not. Oh, actually does. The final one actually does take it out, so that's good. I'm not sure how much artillery is left for CTE. So not taking out the wooden wall next to the supply point. You can't probably see this, but there is a ballista shooting towards the supply point. My camera is in the way. Not that we're seeing very much anyway. EFF doesn't want to be on the ground with CTE, and it's very apparent that EFF is not very confident in their attacks. In terms of losses, I do think CTE is up just a little bit. Not sure what happened there, but does look like a ballista sniped out someone. Very good with ballistas is one thing. CTE definitely using these ballistas to great effect. Terrifying, if I would say. So EFF going for maybe a supply point push. Probably one of the few teams that pulled off this kind of maneuver. So instead of going for the supply point, they would go straight up the road between the supply point and the C point, block off the enemy from the supply point, hold them up into there, and take the C point. Could be a massive sacrifice from the defenders in order to maintain C point superiority, or EFF could. So this is smart. This is smart. Make sure that the enemy only comes in from two directions. The cavalry already moving around, so this is where they need to pull in to the C point, and good treb. This is a very positional treb. You need to hold your rear guard now. The only problem here is, wow, treb's not working out for you very well, but here comes a good hit there. Really needed those medallions in position much earlier, but getting shot up to pieces is going to be pretty devastating. So all they need to do is actually grab C. But C will be contested for sure, and they're being wrapped around already. So the front line's been lost, and it's quite apparent that the Claymores that actually was winning the day there, locking up most of the medals for the Imperial Pike March to really come in. Royal Janissary is also getting stomped out. So, interestingly enough, the medals didn't hold as long as I thought they would. When it comes down to it, I think the Imperial Pike March mixed in with the Claymores. Claymores provide a massive, massive support buff. Them charging in locked up two medals, I think, and medals definitely not in position. Unable to maintain the front line definitely shows the difference in strength. The rear guard here definitely didn't work out very well. But also, it's also very apparent that the Metallators absolutely devastated them on the swing. So, it's a risky move. And I think CTE was prepared for it. So, I've seen the maneuver work out, but CTE makes it look easy to counterattack. But the matchup is also terrible, I would say. CTE definitely using very valuable units and their strong abilities. The Imperial Pike March as well is much stronger than it was before. Able to apply that 16% debuff. Imperial Pike March really showing its value when it goes up against medals. Coming up across the left-hand side, EFF is going to go for an all in here, but it's a straight battle. Really need to suppress those Metallators. If those Metallators keep shooting, they're going to generate a lot of value. And the amount of pressure. Look at that shield line just getting completely decimated. So it's a little bit slow, but I'm surprised you didn't lose more. Iron Reapers actually get sidelined there. So a side of Iron Reapers yet again. Royal Janissaries might go for a cleanup here. It's a flank, continuous flank here. Shield is out of position, and already the back line's completely locked up. But Cataphracts get destroyed by a charging Winged Hussar. Whoa. Look at them go. Coming in from the right-hand side. That Cataphract really decimated the defenders here. But in terms of unit count, I do think massive advantage coming in from the attackers here. But that supply point not being pressured. Get your cavalry into that supply point. Force CTE to make a different move. Because right now you need to get... Where are you going? Oh my goodness. Medals need to brace. Another catapult just coming straight through. Resupplying with heroes. Get them to this front section here. You know that the enemy is going to go to that side. That supply point. It's a split fight here. So EFF will be at a disadvantage here if they cannot hold either the supply point or the C point. In terms of spawning, the attackers are slightly closer, and I mean slightly. After losing the first battle, the unit count is shrinking, and it's shrinking fast. And by default, I do believe CTE has advantage. Catapult coming in from the rear takes out a ton of surf here. Gonna be massive value. I don't think EFF has very much left in reserve in terms of strong units. Look at the unit count just drop, but still have to deal with quite a few high tier units. Cataphracts in particular. A lot of CTE running around, holding them at key positions. Really need to kill off the heroes from CTE, and EFF just does not have that potential. Those pikes are doing a massive work there. There is apparently 6 left. Where are your guys?
Child's play.
One by one they fall. So, unfortunate. Very unfortunate here. EFF loses out against CTE, and I'm surprised actually CTE was able to drag that back. I think they overcommitted for the C point without securing it. So when the cavalry did make a complete mess out of that C point, they should have turned around and went for that supply point almost instantly. The fact that the Battaliators were still firing, the fact that the supply point wasn't grabbed earlier, and also getting caught out of position, pretty devastating, I would say.
Wipe them out.
Locking up the defenders here on the spawn. It's a really good idea. The attackers will be tier 5 archers. Houndsmen. Interesting that they'll be around. I think the most interesting aspect of the Houndsmen is using the dogs to soak up infantry charges. So they're classically really good against Iron Reapers or classically non-brace type infantry. So I do think the Houndsmen are more valuable than people really let out to be. Definitely, dogs themselves really good, but I wouldn't discredit the damage that's outputted by the Houndsmen either, shooting basically 100% accuracy arrows at light speed. I think they shoot off like 10 arrows a second. Not really. You see, because of how fast dogs are, if it's not a brace type unit, the dogs actually mostly dodge a lot of attacks, and I mean a lot of attacks. So what you do is you throw out, well, you use pounce and you call them back. I mean, obviously that's one of their skills, but if you keep throwing, because it's on such a short cooldown, you throw them very far and you call them back very quickly. Or, yeah, that 50% damage reduction against infantry for 2 seconds, massive. And, I mean, dogs, they might have only around about 9,000 health, I think. They have no armor, though. Really great for soaking up charges and stuff. You see an Iron Reaper charging, just throw your guys in. Better yet, because you throw your dogs in, you can follow up with a volley or hobbling shot, which has been changed to. It slows them down massively, if not concusses them. It's very interesting. It's the first unit that actually has a concuss. Well, that and the Huskarls now have a concuss. But Houndsman is finicky because it's very difficult to get the dogs to do what you want. And so you're really just throwing out the dogs in kind of like a disperse formation, hoping they'll do something. I think it's kind of like an advanced surf unit. It's really dumb how I explained it just now, but what you do with a surf unit, you use it to soak up damage. So that's what you're doing with the dog. You soak up damage and you supply a little bit of range damage. So a little bit of either or. Houndsmen do end up really getting run down most of the time. Cavalry in particular, that can just ignore the dogs and just run them over, can just kill them. Otherwise, rushing your dogs into a brace type unit like now would just get them killed instantly. But damage coming out of Houndsmen a little bit underestimated in a lot of circumstances. The bleed, guaranteed bleed, I think it's like 2 ticks of 500, and it hurts. It hurts a lot. I do like the fact that they guaranteed the damage with the bleed. I dislike the fact that Houndsmen have no health. If you see Houndsmen, any range unit in fact, just dive them. Because the sooner they're off the field, the more value you can get. And one of the biggest things about ranged units is that they create a lot of value by doing damage. And Houndsman is the only ranged unit I would say is completely different, where you use the dogs to kind of disorientate the enemy. I mean, I'm very surprised when I'm running around and all of a sudden I see this mangy little mutt just hit me from I have no idea where, and he's just running around, and I'm literally just trying to hit him, and it's just like, what am I doing? It's not even worth hitting the dog because it does so little damage, but it's actually surprisingly tanky. In my experience of using Houndsmen, I classically get them killed a lot, but that's because I probably throw them into braced units, but my goodness. Houndsmen shouldn't be underestimated, but they're not particularly that great. As I said before, cavalry just will roll over them. I think what they could have done is allow dogs to have a one-time stun when you use pounce, so they run into cavalry and stuff, and they will instantly stun cavalry. But that would be great. But unfortunately, I don't think they'll do that. Anyway, does look like we're on for a little bit of a break. Gonna see you guys in a couple of minutes. We'll see TKT versus CBEL in the next set. So congratulations to CTE. They did win 2-0, and we're going to be seeing them in a bit. The next set of battles in a bit. So there is still the losers bracket, so you could see EFF come back from the losers bracket. That's a little bit later though. Oh yeah, no, for sure. I think cavalry in and of itself is OP. So anything that can stop cavalry will instantly become OP. I do understand that, but I don't believe Houndsmen will be OP if they can stop. I don't believe, sorry, it is too much to ask cavalry. I mean, too much to ask Houndsmen's dogs to stop cavalry. It's a little bit weird. Oh yeah, no, sure. Shenji can already stop cavalry with their grenade. Timing just right. Okay, no, but like think about this as well. The dogs need to hit the cavalry before the dogs die. So I mean, if it's a straight-on charge, the dog will normally die because of the charge damage. That's normally what happens. Because if I've tried charging dogs straight into cavalry before. Doesn't work. I don't even deal any damage with the dogs. But that being said, I'm going to send you guys for a little bit of an ad while we are in this little bit of a break period, and I'm going to go sip my water for a bit. I also have to, you also have to give the benefit of the doubt that the Shenji does have a really long animation, and the throw arc can be a little bit scuffed. Horse is greater than dogs. Yes, but pack animals are known for being able to take down larger foes because because of their smaller size. Animals which are bigger don't necessarily have the kind of defenses that you expect, because I think a dog would I said dog, a wolf has a very difficult time taking down something like a horse, but it's not as difficult as taking down something as, like, let's say, a buffalo or a cow, which have a much tougher hide. I think the horse would be faster, and that's the difference, because horses are faster and can normally outrun them, but in this case, the dogs run at a 9 speed. Most Lance Cavalry only run around about 8. So, I'll catch you guys in a bit. Gonna go send you for an ad. Be right back. Agreed. Buffing the uh, buffing rattan units would be nice. So that's not working again. Oopsie daisy. Anyway, no, there we go. Takes a while for it to come back for some reason. Okay, so retrospect. I think the rattan pikeman needs to be able to stack their bleed higher. I mean, stack their poison higher. Counterpoint, though. Rattan Vipers absolutely destroy the attack potential of shit they're shooting, because that stuff, I guess so. Yeah, the attack debuff goes up to like 80 odd %, and it's like you shoot something like an Iron Reaper, and they go from doing, what is it, 3,000 damage down to like what, 1,200? That's like nothing. I mean, it's still 12,000 damage to like 3 different units, but my goodness. No, it's like 600. Holy cow, what am I smoking? I can't do math. Yeah, no, like, Iron Reaper doing only like 600 damage, even if it's 3 different units. So just, man, 10 Vipers, man, you're definitely underestimated. But Rattan Pikeman could do with a little buff. Rattan Round Shield definitely could do with a buff. Rattan Rangers, I would buff their melee capabilities, give them a better charge. So I'd rework the charge just a little bit. I would give them more slashing damage. I would double that shit. I would give them like 1,600, almost 2,000 slashing damage. Penetration as well, about 2,000. Give them that. Make them really good at melee. They've got their shooty still. Don't buff their range damage. Don't need that. Rattan Marksmen, they're fine. Rattan Vipers, they're fine. Those 3 units could do with a little bit of buff, but the buff's in different directions. I did miss out on talking about the units and stuff here, but CBEL and TKT definitely both coming in with 4 spears. Interesting to see poleaxes come out. Not to mention the moles. 2 moles coming out from CBEL. So that will definitely be a breaker. Just give them higher multiplier when attacking from behind at Rattan Cavalry. No! Well, I mean, that would be cool, actually. Make it that Rattan... So Rattan units receive a skirmisher buff. Or guerrilla buff. And they deal 20% more damage, more critical damage. And that would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah, I know CBEL's Korean. I already knew that. Starting off, very interestingly, super stacked here on the right-hand side. The B side almost looks like completely empty here, as 3 heroes go straight across the bridge. A 4th one is just lagging a little bit behind. I don't think they have any units up here on the wall. TKT wants to take that hero fight. Does look like, did look like they wanted to catch one of the heroes out. Didn't work out too well. Interestingly enough, that bridge has no pressure being applied on it. Means it's not being shot. I am very skeptical whether or not TKT even wants to defend the wall here. I don't believe that they will, in fact, as these siege towers are basically full health, almost about to touch the wall here. Just got a lot of presence up here, just scaring them with the heroes, so won't see a climb. But I think once the tower mounts, or right now, they're actually leaving. So a little bit of a climb. Gotta be a bit scary with the heroes. TKT will probably just decimate the unit. Yeah, no, they just go jump straight down. Holy cow. TKT. Man, that is the most aggressive heroing I've ever seen. Realistically, I think if CBEL took that fight to take those heroes, I think they would have seen I think all 15 heroes there jump their asses. TKT given A and B. Yeah, trying to get that early PvP. So they were not going to defend the wall at all. They were just looking if CBEL makes a mistake. Interestingly enough, CBEL didn't fall for any obvious. Well, I mean, I would have tried to kill the heroes that jumped down. In the end, I would say CBEL came out. Well, again, no major engagements. Big loss for TKT here. But again, we've seen very many a defense work here at C. And it's going to be hard, I would say, at the very least, for CBEL to break through basically a full set of defenders, because not a single bit of troops was lost here on the wall. So we still have all of C, all of base for TKT to use their units. So I'm gonna have to wait and see what kind of approach CBEL wants to take. Again, could go into the mortaring phase. We do see some mortars come out on the right hand side. 2 mortars, in fact, a little bit in the safe position. I haven't seen that before. They do it a little bit back. Could be some we have some culverins. Some culverins to counterfire. Interesting. Where's that mortar coming from? Wow, 2 mortars here, also suppressing. So counter mortar fire. This is really good. TKT definitely putting the pressure on CBEL. A little bit unorthodox, I would say. Very uncommon to see this kind of counter arty style. Not wasting any artillery. If you can take out 1 artillery, yeah, I mean, it's pretty big. Yeah, I know. But I have it there anyway. I mean, I need to have my pretty face. Yeah, the guy on the short sword on the side. Hey, you can see him now. Well, the mortar did get destroyed, but I do think those 2 mortars more than made up for their value. Not like this. I'm sorry. As much as people think that being able to see everything is important, I also think it's important to have my pretty face on the commentary I am streaming from. It makes me feel more engaged if I can see myself. Well, I mean, sort of. Because it's also mostly to protect myself. Because I mean, if I don't believe that Booming Tech would ever try to take down people who reshow the matches. But anyway, we have CBEL actually coming up here on the right hand side. Well, our right. It's actually the left hand side if you were taking a look from the mini map. Metallitor's just standing in the way here. Could lock them up just for a little bit. Getting shot by Metallitor's. Big hits. Actually takes out a couple of Medals. Back shots. I think 3 Medals cooked it this there. And continuously taking more and more damage. That's gotta hurt. CBEL, I'm very interested where they're taking this. They've pulled all the way to the backhand side. Massive. Holy cow, that is all the siege weapons being built. Could be interesting. The Metallitor's doing very well. I think that wall... What are they doing? Did they not? Wow, they didn't build, but they've taken the secondary wall. Okay, for some reason the projectile trails just disappear. I think someone, I think the cameraman that we switched to had their projectile trails off because I can't see them anymore. Metallictors were shooting at each other. Mortars are being fired and I can't see the trails. This is so bizarre. TKT just left C. Now they've holed up back into C. And they've gone all the way around. Straight on fight here in the back line here. But it's a super hold up fight. I think TKT has a slight advantage throwing in those Iron Reapers. Man, gotta be overwhelmed by cavalry in 2 seconds, but they do grab the C point. Okay, massive losses though. Massive losses though. Both sides, I think, took losses, but CBEL took way more losses there. TKT good on the pickup, but they did lose the C point, and C point's normally really advantageous. TKT's going to have a little bit of a difficult time here on the base point, but that was the most bizarre move I've ever seen on Wolfort. Absolutely bizarre. I mean, what is that? Something. Oh wait, no, it's one of the. It's the clean feed. Of course it is. Interesting, they're not swinging here on the right-hand side. CBEL's going here on the left-hand side. Cataphract's leading the way. Good thing they actually stopped there. You want infantry to lead the way. I'm copying that move. Yeah, lol. That would be funny. Your advanced antivirus thing is scaring the crap out of me. That's not me, by the way. That's whoever the clean feed is. So we do have the Metallitor still firing. What was that? I think that was a Barcian Wildflame. Yeah, Barcian Wildflame. Another throw there. It's hard to see because the projectile trails have been turned off. I've never really complained about projectile trails being turned off before, but like right now, I wish you turned them on. Or I can't see them actually. I'm either missing them or I can't see some projectiles. Particularly from units that I don't think are visible to the attackers here. Man, like, the most depressing thing here is that CBEL is making very unorthodox move, but TKT definitely making up a lot of value with a couple of mortar shots because look at the pressure that they've been hit, like constantly being hit little by little. I think they lost an additional like. Alright, that's super annoying. I really need. Windows on crack version, lol. Yeah, nah, this is super cracked. I might turn off the desktop audio if that keeps going. Six minutes, 45 seconds to go. TKT is being super aggressive. They're going to take a fight here on the ground where the Trebs are less likely to hit them. Treb comes in, going to hit that Medal 100%. Or the Medal's actually move out of position. Good. Actually dodging that Treb. 5 Trebs left. So, not a lot of resources left for the attackers. So, now shooting with their own Falconettis, which is going to make a lot of value. Alchemist out on the field, healing them little by little. Where is that Metallitor fire coming from? Because I just see like 15 units die, 15 models die. Trying to catch a little bit of Cataphrax. None of the one Cataphrax actually dies, but that was very strange, sacrificing the Imperial Pike there. Badals in the backline catch a entire cavalry unit. What is happening in the backline there? Are they actually going to throw more cavalry at it? I know you can throw a lot of cavalry at Medal problems, but I think this is a little bit overkill because you've already lost a Cataphract to it. They want this right-hand side. I don't know why they want this right-hand side. TKT doesn't want them to have it. They're fighting here on the ground where it's less likely to be tripped. It's harder to be tripped here. There's more space. Alchemist gets thrown. They're catching 2 Medals here. Cataphract just goes straight through. But Cataphract come from CBEL, gets stopped by Imperial, by a thing. Thunderstruck. Cataphract goes in, but gets sidelined by whatever was in the mix there. I think the Halberdier Sergeants actually halted them. It's an absolute mess. I don't know who's winning, but the Cataphracts from the defender's side does look like to be making an absolute mess out of the attackers right now. Wow, those Halberdier Sergeants mixed in with the Zerkers actually doing way better. And I gotta switch it over to something. Jesus, fast forward me. Silly. A lot of death coming out. I don't think anyone's on permadeath just yet, but TKT could drive this home, completely cleaning them out. CBEL's going to have to spawn all together, but after 2 major fights like that, and losses, by the way, CBEL is going to be on the back foot, because I don't see CBEL having any valuable units left, while all of these valuable units from TKT is still out on the field. We got Cataphracts and Winged Stars coming down, reinforced with some interesting to see some Claymores there at the front. Wow, massive spawn right on top of them, but CBEL just loses 10 guys almost instantly. More people are respawning, but like the Berserkers are also in the mix, going to kill up all of those Surf units, and the Medals there on the front line poking them down. Holy Winged Hussar indeed. Cataphract and Winged Hussar coming out from the backhand side as well. Cleans up the rest of the infantry. Pressing their advantage. The defenders completely clean out the attackers there. That is brutal. Wow, that is very unorthodox moves by CBEL, but TKT absolutely closes it out with the defense there. I'm not entirely sure what CBEL was thinking when they were pushing for the base point, but at the same time, I'm not entirely sure other ways TKT could have held the C point. It was absolutely strange, to say the least. I think CBEL should have holed up towards C point instead of pushing out in that funnel. because that funnel would have been very advantageous for CBEL, and really good trebs could come in through. Misplay by CBEL, I think. Hey man, I am just as lost as you. This battle has been spectacularly amazing in terms of things I've never seen before. But at the present time, it's just about 2 minutes for the attackers to clean up the rest of the... the defenders to clean up the rest of the attackers. It's gonna be a short little bit. In the meantime, I'm gonna grab some water. It's a very interesting move, but CBEL did end up still on the disadvantage, and I'm pretty impressed about how TKT held the base point in an aggressive manner. Didn't hole up here on that stage, up onto the base point, really fighting them out in the open, around in the space where CBEL definitely looked uncomfortable by the looks of it. I think the Metallic Tours coming out from TKT really solidified massive advantage. And I mean massive advantage. But anyway, I'm going to be right back. You know, the most interesting thing is how strong TKT looked and how aggressive they were. Heroes on the wall patrolling, they had no fear whatsoever. They knew their heroes were going to be up on the walls, ready to defend their fellow players, their fellow teammates. CBEL definitely taking a lot on unorthodox moves, but my goodness. Even with the unorthodox move, even with them actually getting very far, they're still losing a lot of value. I mean, the fact that they lost the exchange in the end is devastating. And I mean, I think it was about 2-1 actually. Now thinking back on it, it wasn't actually close in terms of value between each side. So CBEL, that's got to be disheartening. I think you've done a really spectacular and very unique move. I think probably the first I've ever seen. TKT does seem to be a tough cookie though. They're very aggressive, and they have shown no fear when taking a fight. I think CBEL's got to play this a little bit more safe. They got to draw in TKT, make TKT move out of position and catch them when they're out of position, where they're weak. But at the same time, I don't think CBEL has the quality of TKT, because TKT seems to be able to trade 1-to-1 better than way better, because as you saw, the hero difference was absolutely massive. Barely any of the TKT heroes died, but every single one of CBEL's died 3 times. Permadeath. I mean, it was a complete stomp out by the defenders, completely suppressing the attackers there, even back into their spawn point. And this is very important as well. The attackers have 2 win. The attackers only have 1 win condition. Take the points. Technically, they have a second one in killing all the defenders, but the defenders have a protection. Otherwise the invincible area. Defenders, the attackers not so much. The attackers don't have an invincible area. They can run all the way to the edge of the map. Not gonna do you any good because they can still follow you there. But nonetheless, it's going to be. I think it's going to be just as hard for CBEL on the defense as it was for their attack, because just like CTE, TKT definitely showing that there is another level, because I honestly thought here on the top 16 we would see much closer fights, but instead we see fights drastically shift into all or nothing. The first engagement is almost guaranteed to show you the pace of the battle. I think CBEL lost too much in the first engagement, and I think the fact that they did come down on a loss made their second engagement that more important for a win. But not winning out in the second engagement as well leads to the loss. And with a double tier 5 warband, only 2 major engagements are predictable, because after 2 major engagements you're out of good units, back down to serfs. I think it's going to be very important for CBEL to really win a battle, at least come out on top ever so slightly, because if you don't, every loss is going to be that much harder to make up for, because TKT, man, these guys are like savage wolves. Once they bite onto their prey, they'll never let go. These TKT is ferocious, and they show no fear even. They think they can take every fight, and you can see that in how they play their heroes. Different from how CBEL plays. TKT has independent heroes doing skirmishing, and you gotta be inside your unit for them to not just walk up to you and smack you, because they'll take that fight. If you're by yourself, even with other heroes around, they'll PvP you down. And I think it's going to be a done deal for TKT. TKT definitely having a massive showing here. Interesting also to see that Houndsman also being deployed for CBEL. I'm not sure why Houndsmen and Claymores have made such a big resurgence. Actually, no. Claymores have never had a showing in a tournament, because the last tournament was Tyranny. We skipped over Highlanders. CBEL having 2 shield units. The Alchemist pick is the strangest of them all. I do not believe the Alchemist picks are worth it. Again, like, that is strange and a very odd pick. We've got Bastion Wild Flames instead of the Nathan Guards. No Metallators out for the attackers. 1 Mettallator out for the defenders. Lots of medals, in fact. I'm counting, what, 8 medals? It's kind of strange. Used to be just all medals, but as we have seen now, medals have really fallen back in terms of usage. You're going to see other tier 5 heavy infantry being used. Mixture of Iron Reapers and the Royal Janissaries. I do think the Chevaliers are locked out, so out of the units that should be available. Very interesting to see that there are Fenris for either side, 1 for either side, and whether or not they're any value. We got 2 Tundras and about 4 Cataphracts with 2 Winged Hussars for the attackers. TKT has a lot of cavalry. I mean, cavalry. A lot of cavalry. You see the infantry battle only lasts for a few seconds, because once the cavalry comes in, the cavalry makes a mess of everything. And a lot of times, the infantry line cannot sustain, because the cavalry will just melt them super fast. Interestingly enough, TKT gonna take down the wall first. Interesting to see that the glaive is going to die. Look how ferocious they are. They just went straight through the... They went straight through the broken wall with just their heroes. CBEL had to pull back. I don't think they should have, but Jesus Christ, man. They didn't care about the towers. They didn't even push the towers. They just broke the... It's not... technically it is, but it's just like... That's not even an actual blitz because they're going back up the wall. So, CBEL gave up the wall section and... Yeah, so many new things in this CBEL. This CBEL. This CBL. Holy crap. Damn you, CBEL. Why do you have such a name? I mean, this is not the first time we've seen a forward defense here, holding them at the stairs of the front gate. So, I think someone did use this to great effect before. Whether or not it will work against TKT, it's still to be seen. We've got a lot of mortars being built here on top of the wall, and a little bit of suppression. Nice sniper shot. I think if they got some culverins there on the B-side stairs, definitely going to be terrifying as that overwatch there. That's very unfortunate. I think... no, the houndsmen are full. They just look a little bit... It looks like they might have taken some losses, but maybe they haven't. Those far culverin shots will be very difficult, and the mortars behind the secondary walls there. That treb is interesting. On to a mortar. Might miss. Oh man, that is tragic. A bit of a waste. There's been 4 trebs, and I've only seen 2. One was used on the wall. And again, trebbing that mortar. But it's got to miss. That's tragic. Oh, actually takes it out. Thought it was going to miss there. Being extraordinarily resilient. Might lose your claymores if you're not careful. Gotta keep your claymores under control. Your Iron Reapers as well. Better to switch them to flail mode. Flail mode does make them basically stand still, not attack anything, even if they are attacking them. That's an interesting treb. Not sure if it actually did anything. Ballista's now being used. Or not. A little bit of a bait. Dogs being thrown up. What are you doing, dogs? You're silly, Billy. It would be really funny if they went out. Oh! You got some Bossy and Wild Flames. This could be interesting as they just throw... I mean, you put up some range here on the stairs and just throw it down on these guys. They'd back off real fast. Got some heavy mortaring there on the backhand side. Got to be very dangerous as they swing around and around and around. Holing up into the main gate is very... Oh, here they come down here on the left-hand side stairs. TKT just has their pike just go straight, setting the pace of the battle immediately. Supply points completely open. You have to stop them here, otherwise your supply point is gone. Going up for the backhand side as well. Imperial Pike March goes off. We've got double Imperial Pike March as well going off for the defenders, but the defenders also getting sidelined by the Iron Reapers. Iron Reapers just absolutely slaughtering them. Front line is mostly made up of Medaus, but Iron Reapers actually win for them on the left-hand side, but the right-hand side is only being held by Medaus, which could collapse. But the Medaus for the TKT actually holding very well. Royal Janissaries clean up the front line, and a Grape Shot are being deployed to destroy that front line. Surprisingly, the supply point has not been grabbed. More Medaus move up, but the Royal Janissaries should definitely make a dent in that as they cleave their way straight through. CBEL's going to have to pick up all of these Medaus somehow, but they're going to have to be careful. We got we got Cataphract coming in first with Winged Hussars, double Winged Hussars coming straight through, absolutely demolishing that Medal pile for the sacrifice of one Cataphract. Very good. Big pickup. This does not allow TKT to have any sort of advantage, but I do think a little bit in victory for the attackers here. Did basically win out in the exchanges. TKT is probably a little bit ahead. The battle is interesting. We've got the B point being picked up. That's 3 minutes of extra time. 5 minutes to go for the C point, and it's going to be tough. We're going to have only one major battle left, and then it'll come down to surf units. And if it does come down to surf units, I do think TKT is going to have a massive advantage in terms of hero killing. Interestingly enough, we have the small camera there on the top left-hand side. Axe Raiders being deployed by TKT. Interesting unit. Very vulnerable to CC. Hero CC in particular causes 30% extra damage taken, and that is pretty debilitating. We've got some Village Watchmen just watching over that C point. Now we've gone into the standard left-hand side push with the right-hand side supply point hold. So they've spread themselves out in their classic position where you got a couple guys on the C point, rotate out with the backhand side here. They'll swing either to the C point or to the supply point, depending on the moves from TKT. TKT right now is there on the left-hand side. Mostly there on the left-hand side. It would be really good if you had something. Ballistas coming out like crazy. Why didn't I notice this before? But look at those ballistas. There's like 10 ballistas out. It's more like 6. Alright. Axe Raiders just instantly sweep out those guys. I'd send in my... What the hell? You waited way too long. Those Axe Raiders could have been eaten up the moment they went on to those... Whoa, interestingly enough, the Cataphracts also come swinging. CBEL making an aggressive play. Also, I might have overestimated how much time they got, and it might have been only 2 minutes. Out of position from CBEL here. Another spear goes down. There are already 2 heroes down. The supply point is being taken. TKT is moving out around to the supply point, so they are sacrificing their units. CBEL needs to do a massive pickup, be able to actually hold a resupply. It is possible. I do not believe that TKT has a lot of units in reserve since they did lose a fight at the beginning. But the only problem here is that they're catching a lot of retreating units. The only problem now is that they have fresh units compared to their wounded units here. Lots of them down, lots... Oh, we got a Tundra Human and a Cataphract out here on the fresh. Those Imperial Pikemen are actually retreating. That's going to be devastating as that unit actually probably got knocked out. Going to walk into your own treb there, about to be. Cataphracts might have a charge, or they don't. They actually just get completely sidelined. And a massive catch here by TKT. TKT just coming in hard with cavalry charges left, right, and center. Now we have Winged Hussars coming in from the rear, actually missing a major Iron Reaper right there. Reinforcing with Demez Pikeman by the looks of it in brace mode. but falling back now into the base point, and it is quite a show, because right now, I think it is surf time. And the only problem is that we have a Cataphract, we have Tundra humans, and we have a couple of Medails with an Iron Reaper out on the field for the attackers. The defenders have nothing I've seen so far. 7 minutes to go. Gotta be very difficult, because you have to take out the high value units along with the heroes. Otherwise, it just comes down to a hero fight. And I'll be honest, no matter how many surfs you throw out of a Medal, it's going to take forever for those units to take them out. And we've already started off really heavy. Surf units are being thrown at that dense pile like crazy. Winged Hussars comes in, but it runs straight into the Medals there. Really could have come swinging from the rear there. That's very unfortunate. It's going to be a double wipe here. That is very unfortunate. The move by CBEL did not work out too well. The supply point changeover really coming in huge for TKT, catching off the remainder of the counter-offensive and absolutely devastating the CBEL players here. Stay on the damn point, you bastards. I swear to God, if you take a step off that point, TKT.
The enemy is about to capture the final flag.
This back section is not even interesting, mainly because there's an invincible area as well. But that's it. Oh my God. What is that ping? Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you seriously going to hold us hostage for 5 minutes? TKT. This is lame. Man, at this point, I just shut off the stream. I just end the match there with TKT's defeat. This is sad. This is not what I like to see. They have a surrender option as well. But come on. You're seriously going to hold us hostage for 4 more minutes? And I'm being serious here, because the defenders don't have to leave the invincible area. What is the point? What is the point? This is disrespectful. This is massively disrespectful for both sides. Disrespectful for the defenders and disrespectful for the attackers. The attackers, of course, more disrespectful, but at the same time, it's just like the defenders no longer defending. They're just killing off as much as the attackers they can. This is the part of CBL I hate the most. That we could be held hostage here in a guaranteed victory for the attackers. Just because they want to show up the defenders. The defenders don't have to leave that safety zone. Every second TKT did not stand on that base point is disrespect for everyone who plays Conqueror's Blade, I say. Because you are not playing to win. You're playing to disrespect your enemy. And if you're disrespecting your enemy, you're disrespecting everyone. I think that's how it is. It's sad to see. It's sad to watch. I want a lot of things. I hate to see a lot of things. But that is not what I like to see in a tournament. Especially in a tournament promoted by Booming Tech. I want people to be respectful for each other. I want people to play hard. I love CBEL doing a very unique move. I love TKT for being very good. But I hate watching the attackers sit on their hands as they try to kill the defenders. Defenders have the benefit of the doubt that you can win the battle early by killing all of the attackers. You can't do that against the defenders, but the defenders don't need to leave that that safety zone. That safety zone is invincible. You can't damage them inside. It is every second I was held hostage watching that. I feel disgusted. I don't like seeing it. It is, you're watching futility. It's like you're watching two people. Ah, man. As much as I like today just being very interesting, it's also today just been, that has just ground my enthusiasm to a halt. Every team that has done this, I've seen a lot this tournament, this season. There's heaps of battle. I don't care what kind of relationship you have with the other teams, what kind of hate or like misguided feelings you have against other people. But play the game. Play the game to win. You can do some silly things in something like League of Legends by diving the fountain, but that's stupid for you because you would die. But anyway, I do congratulate TKT do winning. They will fight off against CBEL. Not CBEL. They will fight off against CTE. So we'll have CTE versus TKT on July 28th, which is Thursday. We have EFF and CBEL both being moved down to the losers bracket, so we'll have those two fight it off on the 24th of July, which is a Sunday, this coming Sunday. But the next battle will have DQS versus MGK, followed by MTA versus Ace on the 20th of July, which is the Wednesday coming. I will stream my normal Monday, this coming Monday, so I hope to see you guys then. So just to reiterate, we had a double Wolfall battle between CTE versus EFF, with CTE winning both their defense and the attack. Followed by, we had TKT fighting off against CBEL on the Wall Fort map twice again, with TKT winning both their attack and their defense. We got to see a very interesting CBEL attack with a move towards the left-hand side and going straight behind the secondary wall. And in the end, CBEL did lose in both scenarios, but a lot of interesting things happening today in this tournament. But that is all for this. That is all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I know it's a little bit on the down note since because I go into a rage and I rant about certain things, and I do like to see some very interesting things. Houndsman coming in. I'm not sure if they did very much, but it's very nice to see. that maybe maybe these teams in the CBL know something I don't. Has been underappreciated, but I think they lack the ability to do a lot of things, or cannot compete for a lot of things. A little bit of a situational use, but nonetheless, I hope you guys have a nice day. Other than that, my name's Azakai. Ugh, my goodness. Let me try that again. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, but other than that, my name's Azakai. Have a nice day. Bye for now. I'll see you guys on the Wednesday.